Getting ready for bed here.
Is
School
it
night,
Bane?
baby. It's school night. No, baby Trickster and Trickster. They were outside. They still play outside till like 8 o'clock because school doesn't start till 9:15, I think. So
Must be
whatever.
nice.
Must be nice. Hey everybody, what's up? We're live. Hi. Welcome into the Raheel Show podcast. It is a Monday night conversation with my beloved Jose Partida. Jose, we are doing this a little early because the Rockets are going to play at 8 o'clock on this Monday night. So we wanted to at least be able to watch the second half with everyone. So we're going to do an early episode today. On the show today, somebody that you love and you found and you brought to the show, Michael Sykes. He is from USA Today for the Win and Kicks You Where newsletters, his newsletter that he started on his own to talk about stuff he's passionate about. And we're going to bring him on to talk about the current state of not being able to get anything from Nike. Like, it sucks, man. Getting those Kobe's, like, we all wanted a pair, right? To not only have those pair, but to celebrate and honor Kobe's legacy. Michael had a
Yeah,
really good video that you sent, so we'll bring him on and talk about that in about 27 minutes
he was
on this podcast.
his your buddy Darren Rovell tweeted at him about it.
Yeah,
Your
when
your
Darren,
good buddy.
and I want to ask him about that because going viral, like, how many followers did he pick up? Because
Oh,
I
that's a good
love,
question.
yeah, like I love, of course, good question point. What's up? Your boy's up 1-0. I like it when I get a point from you. That's when you know it's a good question, when you get it from somebody that you work with a lot. But my like okay, for example, Streak Shooter, our guy from Phoenix, who you say is the Phoenix Raheel. He is an NBA. He's an NBA
I did not
personality.
say that.
Yeah, you
I
did.
never said.
You
I've
said
never
Phoenix
said
Raheel.
that. That is not what I said. No,
Absolutely.
do not put that on me. No, I did not say that.
Was
When did
that
I say
Josh?
that?
Was that
That
Josh who
might have
said
been
it?
Josh. That wasn't me. No.
Josh, pull the receipts, please. Who said that? Because that was a really funny joke. But he goes viral all the time, right?
Yeah,
And I like
definitely.
keeping tabs on, okay, what were your follower count estimated before you went viral to when you did go viral? And it's like sometimes you'll see tweets with like 70,000 retweets, right? 100,000 retweets. And the person only has like 800 followers, right? Like it's the wildest thing that doesn't convert to traffic. And I can track like important tweets and how many people you pick up from it. It's small. That tweet that went like super viral for me, the Tiger King NBA 2K2 or whatever it was,
Oh
2K2.
yeah.
Yeah, remember that,
When
like, and
you when
shit.
you were stealing people's content for
Yeah, when
clicks
absolutely.
when
Uh,
you Rex Chapman'd it.
Yeah, I just tweeted the video. Hey Twitter, cut that out, by the way. You're right. It sucks. Like, instead of quote tweeting, you can just tweet it and it looks like you created the content. But
It
it's a good
tells you where it comes from, but you can't go to the account it came
you
from.
can't, yeah, you can't go to the actual like tweet itself. It's so frustrating. But from that, it went like super viral. Like, I want to say it was like 1 million people saw that tweet, right? I forgot the exact number. And I think like 13 people followed me. Like, it's, you don't get anything from going
No.
viral other than people seeing your name and you feel good. That's it. That's all
Oh,
it is.
Rex Heel Chapman.
Okay, that's not me, guys. But I have been in our group thread. I just take Rex's content and I just repurpose it too, because he's repurposing it as well.
So you're are you worse than him for that, or are you just
Nope.
giving it back to the people?
Nope. It's
Are
still
you
like
Robin Hooded?
yeah.
Robin Hooding these tweets.
Remember I told you about that book I read, Steal Like an Artist. Everything that's created is stolen. Like, everything's been done before. That's it. Every artist will steal something that's been done before. They might not outright steal it, but the premise of it, you are stealing like an artist. That's the Austin Kleon book I read.
Good
And
artists
that's the
copy,
premise.
great artists steal. Right
Yeah. You made it a hot line, I made it a hot song,
there you go.
right? Like, that's what it is. There's so much of that. How many different podcasts are out there that follow the Joe Rogan Experience timeline or the outline of that show, right? Hell, this show was started based on that, right? So it's,
Was it?
yeah, like, I just wanted to interview interesting people and I didn't want to talk about sports. So I just started
Oh, I
booking.
thought you just wanted to spend more quality time with me.
No, this podcast was around way before you, Jose. Like a whole 2 days before you, right? Like, yeah. When
I missed my name being on the show by 2 days.
Yeah, that was it. If you would have been there on the day this podcast was conceived, you could have done this. Manny, yeah, your podcast, my podcast, all of us. But that's not a bad thing. Austin makes a point that that's what you're supposed to do. Even when you go back to ancient times, right? Like the Romans, they stole from people as well. Those ideas, the statues. There's just not. That's just how it works. So, that's an idea that I'm okay with. And it was hard for me to accept that. Like, I'm not going to steal content or repurpose it. But my followers might not have seen that. Your followers might not have seen that. So that's just a little mention of that book. It's a really good book. So check it out. And he made 3 different books out of it.
So is that Tiger King thing you stole the most popular tweet you've ever had?
I think so. I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to think.
Mine was during the peak Stephen A. I think, if I remember correctly, mine was during the peak Stephen A. Meme era of Twitter. When the Browns traded for Odell, I had a tweet go viral in the football Twitter universe, which I don't really I don't really subscribe to the football Twitter universe, so I kind of was culture vulturing for a second.
NBA Twitter is the best because you can have the most fun, and it's the most creative one originally, I think. MLB Twitter is the dweebiest. Like, seriously, it's the worst. Like, to me, it's just so boring, and everything comes back to you don't know what you're talking about. Baseball guy just has to be smarter than everybody else, right? That's what MLB Twitter is. And then we'll be part of the culture vulture thing where we'll step in every once in a while, say, oh, unwritten rules, and we'll fire off a funny tweet and leave. That's MLB Twitter. NFL Twitter is back in my day and when I used to play guy. Right? NFL Twitter is like, no, man, when I play D-line, this is how we used to do it. And you're like, but you also played for like the New Braunfels Unicorns. Okay, so that to me is
that a
NFL,
real team?
Oh, yeah, I think it's New Braunfels Unicorns.
That sounds like the type of team that Josh buys a hat from Hat Club.
Oh, yeah, and Niles. Well, Niles would definitely buy one.
It's Land of Steve, too.
Isn't Josh's pretty much a hip Nile?
A hip young Nile. Yeah,
like 4 people
you're
know
right.
New Braunfels Unicorns. That's what it is.
This joke is for like 4 people, right? You're right.
Yeah,
5
exactly. People. And then soccer Twitter is, hey guys, tweet about us. Come on, come on. Hey,
Messi, Ronaldo, guys, come on, guys.
Who else? NHL Twitter doesn't exist, right?
I think it does. We just don't know about it.
I've never seen NHL content on my timeline, except for the one that you sent me where they have a black player. Right? They have one black player who is.
I don't think they have one black player, but one of them was called. I think.
Oh, you were being funny. I thought you were being for real. I don't know. I don't know the NHL stats.
No. You're putting all these things on me. First, I call you. I call that guy the Phoenix Raheel, which I never did. And now this. No, an African American player in the NHL was calling out the NHL for being followers. Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, remember that?
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to our topics because we do have a guest coming up in about 20 minutes, so we're going to get this going. Obviously, the number one thing I'm going to start with, and we've talked about this, and I think a lot of people that are coming to the show understand how important this was to us. The Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, passes away on Friday night. There's so much to unpack with that news, so let's just start throwing out initial thoughts because it is heartbreaking, one,
yeah,
right? Because here's a guy who is in his prime, maybe just like getting into his prime and about to enjoy the fruits of all his hard work and labor, and he passes away from cancer. We all know how devastating cancer is. Being in Houston, my wife used to work for MD Anderson, and the stories that she would tell me, I think all of us have had an experience with this, obviously, because cancer is just devastating. And to hear that he passed away from cancer and nobody knew about it, or the people that did know about it didn't leak it at all. And somebody brought up a really good point, Jose, that when movies are done on that level every actor has to get a health check, insurance, like the studio has to provide all of that.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah,
Interesting.
so like Disney, Marvel, whoever was producing it, they all have to get these things done, especially if you're the lead actor. So somebody knew that wasn't in his circle. Like you can't hide that, right?
Right.
And even they, for a big corporation, nobody leaked it. That's incredible. Nobody had any idea. The director of Black Panther
Why
had no idea.
that was all that was part of the reason why it just felt so unbelievable. Aside from the
Mm-hmm.
fact that, as you mentioned, he was barely hitting his prime, and how passes that young is that it just kind of felt like it wasn't real. I remember, I think it was AP who had it first, and it was just like my initial thought was not like, oh my God, he's dead. My initial thought was, how did the AP get this wrong? Because
Yeah.
it just seems so unbelievable to think he died. What are you talking about? Colon cancer? No, he doesn't have cancer. Like that was like the first initial shock of like, what do you mean he died from cancer? He didn't
Mm-hmm.
have that. Like, what are you talking about?
I
It
thought
was
my
just so
wife, like my wife told me, Jose, and I thought she got, I thought, look, she's not internet savvy like you and I are, okay? Like where we just live on the internet at all times.
yeah,
So she can definitely fall for some fake news. And she shows me, and I'm like, are you sure this is an official e-news account? I was making fun of her. I
yeah,
was like, you got to look for the blue check mark. I click on the account, and I was like, oh my God. Like how?
yeah.
You're right. None of us knew. Nobody, there wasn't even a rumor about it.
No,
And it was
nothing. Not a
so
single thing.
shocking. It was so shocking. The Kobe death was, it's still unbelievable that Kobe passed away. We say it every week. But this one was like, it wasn't worse because they're both just tragic deaths, obviously. But
Right.
this one came out of nowhere because there were no signs at all. And look, Kobe's was a helicopter accident, right? And there's no signs of that ever either. But this one was even more shocking to me because of everything you mentioned. And when you see him, you're like, this guy looks like an Adonis, right? Like when Black
Yeah,
Panther, look at him. He's a physical freak. And he did all that after he was diagnosed with cancer. Like that, how do
that's
you do that?
insane.
Yeah.
The,
So that's why I was like, man, he looked so physically fit. And those pictures that came out, those pictures always to me are like weird because angles are everything.
yeah. I also hadn't seen those pictures. I
Mm-hmm.
missed whenever apparently those were all everywhere. I never saw those pictures.
Yeah.
So it was just it is, to me, at least to me personally, it is a lot like Kobe's death because it just feels so damn unfair. Like, and I know, frankly, that's how pretty much every death is when someone dies young. But it just,
Mm-hmm.
he still had so much to give. He was gonna start eating all of these Marvel checks. Like we still were gonna have more Marvel sequels. He was still, God, what wasn't he rumored to be like doing a crossover with Doctor Strange, I think, in one of the movies? Like there was still so much that they were going to do. And I mean, for all we know, maybe they already knew he was sick, so they were planning on moving on in terms of giving the mantle of the Black Panthers to someone else. But it just felt like so sudden, so unfair, man. Like I have no other words to say about it other than it just felt so unfair. Like, and I think what Michael B. Jordan said today, he had a message about 30 minutes ago. Is he says that I wish I was able to give you your roses when you were alive, and that's kind of how it feels like with him. Like he
Mm-hmm.
played so many important roles, and obviously he lived through those experiences, and I know he knew the impact he made on so many Black people in our country. But now that he's gone, it's kind of like we all get to sit back and think, like really critically think about the fact he played Jackie Robinson, he played James Brown, Thurgood Marshall, and the freaking Black Panther. Like that's such an incredible run. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's just like it sucks, man. It's so unfair.
And he nailed all of these roles.
Yeah,
That was the crazy part. There was no bad critical review of him either. It wasn't like somebody put out some nasty thing like, "Ooh, this guy's not qualified for this or that." He just kept dominating every single role, and then to have the Black Panther, again, it's a comic book movie, but remember, so many people watch these comic book movies. These are they're bigger than sports, they're bigger than the Super Bowl, all of that crap, right? Like this, it goes global. It's beyond anything that we know how big these movies get, especially in the prime of Marvel. Like we just exited the prime. Every single Marvel movie was the biggest thing, right? And the Black Panther had extra it had extra juice because it was the first black superhero to be done on this scale. And he dominated it. He handled it with such grace. And it was such a beautiful movie too. It could have been a tacky movie, and it wasn't. It was really well done. We rewatched it on Friday night because I just wanted to watch it again. And the funny thing was, before we sat down, Baby Trickster picked a movie, and she picked Frozen 2 again.
Still third sucks, time this week.
Yeah, like she's still. And it was funny. I was like, let's pick a comic book movie. Let's do Black Panther. She didn't want any part of that night because she wanted Frozen 2. And then the news comes down, and we're like, okay, I'm watching it tonight.
Yeah.
And I think it gets better with every viewing. It gets better. So it was well done. He stole the show in Civil War. Like when he,
Hell yeah.
like, remember that? That was the coolest part, was when he finally gets to be Black Panther, and you just go, whoa, this is it. This is it. Like, this guy deserves his own movie. And sure enough, he gets that movie. So, crazy, man. It's crazy. And the one thing I want to focus on real quickly is, it wasn't, obviously it meant so much to our black brothers and sisters. Like, we saw the outpouring of love at the time. We saw it now on Friday. But it also meant a lot to every minority.
Yeah.
That representation, it was so important, man. Like, my daughter loves the Black Panther, right? Like, that's such a good comic book character. But moreover, it's like, man, look, you can do this. Guys, you can represent other cultures and other people and other colors. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's the part that, like, I couldn't stop thinking about when he passed. My cousin, who I was pretty much raised with as a sister, as if we were siblings, her stepson is a black boy. She married a black man, and I love that little kid. He's so freaking hilarious. He greets you with a punch, and he tries to fight you all the time. He's such an active, such an energetic kid. And I remember when the movie came out, he was so obsessed with it, and just thinking of just like the impact and the impact that representation had for him, and what it meant to feel like that guy is me. That guy looks just like me. That guy looks just like my dad. He had the pajamas, he had the toys, he had everything, and I was just so crushed for him. That he's all I could think about that night when he passed away on Friday. When we found out Chadwick had passed away on Friday, it was just so heartbreaking, man.
So heartbreaking, man. What else stood out to you from Friday until now? The ABC 13, by the way, or ABC showed the Black Panther in full non-commercial interruption, which was awesome. They had the tribute to Chadwick Boseman, which was phenomenal. I only watched parts of it because I just emotionally couldn't do it as well, to be honest with you. Like that, I don't know why. I still don't. I still make fun of this because it's so weird. Like, celebrity deaths. Like, why do they hit us so hard? We talked about it with Kobe. Why? And with Kobe, for me, it hit me hard because it's somebody that I've known since 1996.
Yeah.
You know, so like that's a lot of years. Chadwick, I've only known him since what, 2000? When was Jackie Robinson? 2015?
13, I think.
13?
I think so.
So and then that was on and off, right? Until he became the Black Panther, and you're like, "Ooh, this dude is awesome."
Right.
So why does it hit us so hard?
I think it's because of their impact and what they meant for the specific interests or the specific people in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Kobe was your hero as a kid, like that, obviously, and with the work he was doing to advance the game of basketball and the women's game of basketball, like, of course that's like so devastating. Like that, those are the things we care about. And Josh makes a good point with Eddie Guerrero. Yeah, that was like so like remembering when he died. That was like the most bizarre thing ever as a kid. Like,
it's still bizarre.
It just because it was so sudden, and
yeah,
and just like thinking like he was one of the top guys for the WWE, and like how do you just die? Like that doesn't happen. Like having a guy talking in English, in Spanish when he's talking on the mic, like that was so cool for guys like me growing up watching that. Like, and it's same thing with Chadwick and with Kobe. It was just so unfair. Like he still had so much to give. There was still so much life left to live, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the other part is there's so much still left, right? Like selfishly, like we want more from those guys, right? Like I wanted more Kobe moments. I want more Black Panther and Chadwick Boseman moments. You wanted more Eddie Guerrero moments. But that's it. Like it's taken away, and it's sad, man. It's sad. Like you just don't know. And then the other side of this one is the internet. People are roasting him for his appearance, and it's a lesson we learn all the time, right? It goes back to elementary schools. Elementary school, it's that you can't assume things. You got to be kind to people. You can't make fun of people. You don't know what they're going through, right? Like these are things that you learn when you're 6 years old, 7 years old, right? I mean, We're teaching this to our daughter. She's 5. Our daughter, my wife, and not me and you.
I thought you meant me. Okay, no, I thought you were adding a responsibility to me. Okay,
that's what we're teaching her. Is like you can't assume things about people. It's not right to judge a book by its cover. Those sayings, all that, and yet here's some grown ass adults doing it, and just so we can get a joke off, and we being the usted form, and that was so sad to see. In hindsight, you go, damn. Like, what are we doing here on the internet? It's so ridiculous.
Nabil makes a great point. Your ideal virtues are exemplified by our heroes. A part of you dies.
Yeah, he was texting me as well, Nabil, and we were just discussing what happened, and like it's just so hard, man. It's so hard. And then I talked to Nuno on Sunday, so that was like nice to talk to him because he loves comic book movies, and for him it hit him even more because he's like, dude, he's about my age.
Right. That's so insane, man. 43 years old.
43 years old to be diagnosed with colon cancer when you were 39 in your 30s still. That's unbelievable, right? Like that, you feel like you're untouchable, and things happen, right? Like things happen, and we all got to take care of our health. We got to take care of our mental health. And that's last year with the Movember stuff. I talked about this so much is people of color, we don't focus on our mental health. This is a side note. This has nothing to do with Chadwick Boseman, but we really lack in that department. We don't care about our mental health. We have this, we're going to go 100 miles per hour. We have to prove everybody wrong. And that's a good thing to have. Like that attitude is great, but eventually it catches up. That seminar I did a couple of weeks ago, one of the professors was talking about that is, we don't rest in a minority culture. It was like, we got to go all the time. We got to grind it out. We live up to this on the grind spirit, and we brag about that. But that's not a good thing all the time. You have to have that mental break. You got to have that physical break. You got to balance your life. And we don't do that, right? I bring up my dad all the time. I tell him all the time, like, you don't need to work 6 out of 7 days. You don't need to anymore. You can just relax now. It's okay.
Especially when you're unemployed, dog. Go pick up a couple shifts at the perfume shop. What are you doing?
No, he doesn't let me.
What?
He doesn't let me.
He doesn't trust you?
No, I went there the other day and I sat around and he's like, "What are you doing here? Just go home." He's like, "We can handle it. We can handle it. It's not that busy right now, unfortunately, because of what's happening." So he's just like, "Go home. You don't need to be here. You're fine. Like, get out of here. We can handle it. We're not that slow."
Did you pick up a bottle of Versace on your way out?
I got you if you want some. I got you.
Appreciate you, dog.
What is your sound is going in and out? It's so weird.
Is it? Oh, no, that's not good.
Yeah.
Hello?
Now you sound better. Let
me get the mic closer.
Yeah, you're good. It's just like a weird robotic sound because your cheap-ass Wi-Fi is still going out.
Hey, man. I told my brother to get off the Wi-Fi.
What is he doing?
I don't know. Probably streaming something.
If you're checking in, by the way, we are live right now. So if you're listening on audio, I just want to put this out there for the live people. We're not going to be giving score updates, Rockets updates, and all that. I know it's on during the game. Both of us are DVRing. Are you still are you watching it now?
I might be.
Okay, don't give score updates.
I have it on the TV. We can't give score updates?
No score updates, please.
Will the Rockets find us?
Yeah, I'm going on DVR, so I want to go watch it, and then we can tweet together second half starts. So we'll do that. All right. We do have a special guest joining us here in a few minutes, so we will get to that. Any last things on Chadwick for you?
I mean, aside from obviously may rest in peace, just with things like this, you always got to take the lesson of like making sure to check in with your people, making sure you're good with everyone in your life, because you just don't know when your day or their day is going to come. It's just be mindful of the relationships in your life and take care of them.
Yeah. You saw my clip I put out yesterday about we need to do a better job in getting people their props while they're alive, like giving them the roses.
Yeah.
I think we
100%.
struggle with that a lot. I think we all get caught up in our lives, and I understand it's a tough time, but as you mentioned, a simple text message, a simple compliment, a simple phone call, a tweet, whatever it is, I think we all need to do a better job of that. Not with celebrities. I'm just talking about in your personal life.
Right.
Like share these, because all these beautiful moments came out about Chadwick, and I'm like, man, how do we miss all this?
Yeah, the clip with Fallon that everyone was sharing, I had never seen that clip.
Mm-hmm.
That interview where they're asking him how he bulked up for the Black Panther and then he lost weight and then bulked up again, and he's like, "That's actually a really funny story. I hope I can't wait to live to tell it," or something along those lines. Was heartbreaking, man.
Yeah. And then you see him visiting kids that have cancer as well, and then talking about the story about I think it was on with the Breakfast Club, right? Was it? No, it wasn't the Breakfast Club.
It was I think it was with Shay.
With Sway in the morning?
Shay, yeah, Sway.
Okay, so it was with Sway.
I think it was with Sway.
And he just telling him, like, these kids are telling me we're staying alive, basically, and like that's what's keeping us alive. So watch your movie, man. Like,
right.
I can't. And while you're going through that, it's just pain you can't even imagine, man. But it's wild, man. It's wild. But you're right. Like, we need to do a better job of this. We need to tell people, yo, awesome work there. You did. I love what you did here, and thank you for being in my life. All that stuff. So we need to do a better job, man. As guys, especially as minority men, getting back to that mental health thing, we're not good at that either.
No.
Hell no. And we're horrible at that. We're horrible at that, man. But we just need to improve on little things. And as you mentioned, let's learn from it. One of the bad things from the weekend, and I shared this in our group, Dame put out some Black Panther edition Dame 5.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
And of course, as soon as Chadwick passes away on StockX, the shoes go up to $1,000. And these are shoes that I literally bought for $40.
You have them?
I had them. I returned them because I played in them, and they just weren't good shoes for me to play in.
Yeah.
And I ended up returning those shoes. But those shoes that were $40 last year are now $1,000.
That's
and
insane.
It just shows you how despicable the resale market is. It's a perfect segue to bring in our next guest, Michael Sykes. Michael, how you doing, man? Thank you so much for taking some time out on a Monday night to join us.
Hey, fellas, absolutely. I'm glad to be here, and I gotta give it up to you for that segue, man. That was incredible. Great work.
I got you. It's like I'm built for this job. You know what I'm saying?
So, Michael, thanks for coming on. First of all,
absolutely.
Is your power still out? I saw you sent a message.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez,
it's still out. It's stormy. It's all good, man. This is like the third or fourth time this has happened in like the last few months. It's been super rainy up here in the Maryland area, so it's all good though. It's fine. I'm glad to be able to kick it with y'all.
So people that are watching right now are like, wait, why isn't Michael turning on his lights? It's because your lights are out. So I love this.
Sorry, y'all.
Michael, so this is a great story. Jose turned me on to you. You have a newsletter that you started, right? Kicks You Wear.
Yep.
And it's a newsletter that you've been building up, and I highly recommend everyone subscribing. On the audio side of this podcast, the link to that newsletter will be in the description of this episode. So please do sign up. And now you're also working with For the Win, which is an extension of USA Today. Tell us how you got started, man, because it's obviously a passion of yours, but it's a passion that few people get to chase and make a career out of.
Yeah, I mean it's funny because back when I started covering this thing, eventually the sneaker industry, sneaker business, whatever you want to call it, like I didn't even think that it was as massive as it was. I was a Wizards reporter at the SB Nation blog Bullets Forever, and I've always had an interest in sneakers, obviously, and like in like private group chats and email chains or whatever. Like my friends and my editors, like it was something that they knew about. And then I think it was John Wall who had an Adidas contract at the time in 2015, and he had just launched his second signature shoe. And my editor, Jake Whitaker, shout out to him, was like, "Hey, Sykes, like, let's make this a thing. Like, I think we can get weird with this thing, right? Like, not a lot of people are talking about sneakers. Not a lot of people think about this as a coverage angle, but I think it's pretty interesting, especially since it's something that Wall himself talks about a lot. And so I took it upon myself to kind of do the research and get myself acquainted with the actual industry part of the sneaker world instead of just the culture and like liking pairs of shoes myself. And from there it kind of just became a thing. Like I had gone from Bullets Forever to SB Nation's flagship as an intern solely off of the pitch that like I can turn this sneakers beat into a thing for you all. And I ended up doing it. And from there I went to Axios. It kind of dropped off there. But then like upon like leaving Axios, I was like, okay, like I kind of put this sneaker thing down, but like it's definitely something that when I was doing it, people were really interested in. And we're really interested in kind of the insights and perspective that I had. So I figured, like, why not start it back up again? And that's kind of how the Kicks You Wear was born.
That's awesome, man. I remember a lot of people within the NBA Twitter circle, which Raheel and I always talk about on the podcast, how much we love NBA Twitter. After George Floyd was tragically murdered, they were circulating your newsletter for that day. And I was like, oh man, like this was an incredible read. And then I start looking through the newsletter. I'm like, wait, it's a newsletter about sneakers, like the thing that I've been passionate about since I was in middle school, since Raheel's been passionate about since he was in high school. Like I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome. So I started following it. I started watching like your interactions with people. Started watching the Thursdays every Thursday when you send out the tweet. I knew I had to have my kicks ready. I knew I had to. All right, it's Thursday, so I know Michael's gonna tweet. So today I gotta rock the De La Souls, or today I gotta rock the Travis Scotts, or whatever it is, right? So it just kind of reminded me of those times when I was like in high school, when I would go through all these sneaker forums. Like I was on the Nike Talks, I was on the Sneaker forums.
Yeah,
I was on all these forums, and obviously, like as you grow up, you kind of just move on from those things. But like going through your newsletter and interacting with the people who respond to you and your Wednesday threads, like I get those same feelings that I used to get when I was in middle school on Nike Talk and stuff like that. And I feel like that's the sense that everyone else has, because it's the community coming back together is what I feel like the newsletter has done.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad to hear you say that. Honestly, like I'm over. Y'all can't see me, obviously, but like I am like flustered because that is the exact goal of the thing that I wanted to build. Yeah. It was like I felt like when I was doing this, when I was going into it, I was like, okay, like I am totally prepared to have like maybe like 30 people reading this thing. But if it's like 30 people and I can talk to them about sneakers and the culture and the business and everything else that goes into that, then like it's worth my time to do. Like maybe it doesn't become like a huge thing, but like as long as I'm passionate about it and the people are passionate about it, like that is all that matters. And so like to hear you say that it warms my heart. Like I am so elated to hear that, because that was the exact goal. It's like bringing people together to learn about this thing and talk about this thing that we've all loved for years, and kind of the intricacies of it, and like the love-hate relationship that we have with it sometimes, and just like all of that, take it in and make it one thing. And that's how the newsletter was created, honestly, because like I mean, just looking around like the media landscape in terms of sneakers, it's like, I mean, there are like good people who cover sneakers. Like there's good sneaker coverage out there, but I always found that like either it was too kind of business leaning and too kind of rigid, or it was too loose, and it felt sometimes like there were some writers who were really just kind of out to get a free pair of sneakers.
Yep.
And like I just wanted to be the person who was like, you know what, like both of these things can combine and kind of create this new medium, if you will. And like I feel like I've hit that sweet spot, maybe not perfectly yet, but like I'm getting there, and I'm really just really like I just enjoy how much people enjoy the community aspect of it all, because like at the end of the day, the newsletter is nothing without y'all. Like there's no Kicks You Wear without the people who inspire it. So like I'm just eternally grateful, and just like I just want to keep building this thing so that like more people come and more people can enjoy it.
You know, the sneaker community, and I look, the sneaker community is one that gets hijacked a lot, right, with different waves, right? And there was a guy that used to do sneaker stuff back in 2007, and I wasn't like down with. I just didn't like. I used to make fun of him, right? Like he started a Houston community before, and then you slowly develop like relationships, and you get into it, and then you see the ebbs and flow of this community, that it gets hijacked with big releases, and people get interested in it, but then they also see the dark side of it, where you just want to resell it, right? Like I think there's a lot of pivotal moments with the community and with the resale market. I think they go hand in hand almost. And there's some pivotal moments. Like to me, the biggest one was when Kanye left Nike, goes to Adidas, announces the Yeezy line. The first Yeezys are dropped, and everyone wants these because they're so unique, they're so different. And then you start seeing the resale market, and you go, oh, so I can make a quick buck off of this if I get a pair of these, right? And then, as you mentioned in the newsletter, the 10, that to me was a pivotal moment as well. Like it turned me off all the way on sneakers, because I really wanted these shoes so I could wear them and rock them and flex on people, and it was just impossible to get. And you just see like, hey, wait, all these celebrities are getting them. How is this happening? And then the resale market, like, these are how much? Like, come on, these are going for like $1,300, $1,400, and you can't access them. And there was another big moment just last week. We talked about it. Jose brought it up. Your video went viral with the Kobe's on Mamba Mentality Week and Kobe Day and everything. We were celebrating a guy that meant so much to us, and none of us could get a pair.
Yeah, that was just that week. That last week was just terrible. Honestly, there were so many people who were, just completely turned off by. It wasn't even just like the fact that the shoes were so hard to get. It was the fact that like Nike had the audacity to kind of to limit them. Right. It's like, okay, like we totally understand that like these shoes were not made after Kobe passed, right? Like these shoes were supposed to, like they were scheduled to release throughout this year. And so like they've been in development for most likely a year or two probably now. Generally is how Nike's schedule works. It's like they put these ideas into they just get the ball rolling on them, and then eventually like they release down the line, and they were set to release this year. And so like you have these kind of set in stone plans initially, but like you also don't get a wrench thrown into things like the tragic death of Kobe Bryant, right? And so like from there it to me it made it would make complete sense for Nike to kind of pivot and be like, okay, like we know we had this set way that we were going to release these sneakers. We should do it a different way. Now, like maybe they shouldn't be as exclusive. Maybe this shouldn't be a thing that, you know, people struggle to get. And it seemed like they kind of did it, because shortly after Kobe passed, like the big stages were supposed to drop and they delayed that. Then the 5-time champs were supposed to drop after that and they delayed that. And they put them all in this 1 week sequential order. And, you know, they were able to change their plan like that. But for them to kind of limit them the way that they did, it was just like, you know, this feels intentional. Like it's almost like you wanted people to strike out on these, which is generally what like their sneaker strategy is, right? It's like to make people feel like they just missed out on this exclusive thing, so now they're gonna go and get another Nike product, or now they'll be itching to get the next one, and they'll keep coming back. But like it just felt so.
I want to pause you there. Real quickly, because that never made sense to me, right? Like for the end game for Nike, why? If it's something, I get it. Like if it's an off-white where literally they're just, because it's so detailed and you can't make so many of them, like the Pro Shows, as you mentioned, you can make a ton of these, right? And let everyone have a pair. What's the upside for Nike limiting that, right? Like you're upsetting more people, and the end game for other people is the resellers get it, the robots get it, right? And now they're making the money, and Nike's not even seeing that problem. Like Nike could make tons more money if there was, let's say, 6 times the product out there, right? They would sell out either way, right? Like all those Jordan releases that we've seen where they just make a ton of pairs, and guess what? They sell out. Like I don't see the upside from Nike. I know this isn't like your business strategy, but just I wanted to get that off my chest. Is that what is the upside there other than pissing people off and not using their app? Because now Jose knows this. We're in a text and thread and Facebook chat. We're in everything. Like, as you saw our communication today, we're all over the place. But like when we see something we like, we don't even try anymore. It's like, what's the point? You know, like we're not gonna get it. What's the point?
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, especially in looking at this very specific scenario, there didn't seem to be much of any upside for them. Like there was only upset people at the end of the day. Like there were people who, and not even just like the regular, like I got up at 7:00 on Saturday morning to take this L upset. It was like, oh, like I didn't get these Kobe's. Like I've been waiting months for these. Like I'm just trying to pay homage to my favorite player, my fallen idol, and I can't do this. Like this doesn't seem fair. And it was more than just the regular sneakerhead community that felt that pain, and that's why this moment felt different. Like we talk about like the 10 or like the Yeezy wave that we saw in 2015, 2016. It's like those were moments where like the whole scarcity strategy, like you can see how that works. Like you can see how missing out on a Yeezy 350 V2 would push somebody to go buy an Ultra Boost or an MD or whatever. Right. And you can see how like missing out on the Chicago Jordan 1 in the 10 would drive people to buy Jordan 1s like crazy. But like with this Kobe, it's like, yo, like I don't see the like nobody's gonna go buy Mamba Furies because they didn't get the Pro Show 5. Like, sorry, like that's not really gonna happen. And like at the end of the day, all you had was a bunch of mad people who were mentioning Nike on the internet, sending angry tweets, and like probably pissing off the social media coordinators that they have. And it's like, I don't know if this was really worth it. And like I at the end of the day, like what needs to be kept in perspective is that like Nike did donate the proceeds to the Mamba Foundation.
Mamba Foundation.
Yeah, the Mamba Foundation, and they also donated $1 million to the Mamba Foundation, which is a great thing. But like also, you could have done a lot more if you had made a lot more of these and put these in the market. And like to me, like and I wrote this. I think people would be willing to wait for these shoes. Like if it meant that they could get them, right?
Yeah.
Like if Nike needed more time to create more pairs of these, like people would be willing to, like, we've waited this long to get a pair because they've been off the virtual shelves for months now.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't see, like, if you add 6 more months on that, another year onto that, like, I don't think people would be too upset. But it just seemed like they didn't really execute this strategy well. It just wasn't well thought out.
It seemed kind of half-assed. Like,
yeah,
there was remember, Raheel, you'll remember this specifically. Like, when everyone just started randomly wearing pairs of the Bruce Lees, and PJ Tucker's wearing these colorways we haven't seen before. Devin Booker's wearing this colorway we hadn't seen before, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, those that championship colorway. Remember those? Those are coming out. I remember specifically telling you, man, they're planning something big. Like, something's going to happen the week of Kobe's birthday, and it just kind of wasn't. Like, PJ Tucker said on his IG, like, oh, these are the shoes that I designed, the Kobe's I designed for Nike, and they're about to come out, and we never got those. I thought we were getting like a different shoe each day. On Tuesday, the PEs for Devin Booker are coming out. On Friday, the PJ Tucker ones, right? But, like, that didn't happen. And then the frustrating part for me was you mentioned, yeah, there might be some issues with production. You can't tell me that with the jerseys, though.
Yeah.
When a team changes jerseys, they've got thousands on thousands on thousands just ready to go because we just changed jerseys. We're trying to sell every single jersey to everyone. Mike's wearing the WNBA hoodie, which is like the hottest item in sports right now. Yeah. When Fanatics kept selling those hoodies out, they were restocking the next day with like a 2-week delay. You will get your hoodie at the end of September or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
but you'll get it. Like,
yeah, why couldn't you do that with the jerseys? Like, that's that's the part that frustrates me.
So frustrating. How do we fix this, Michael? This is a problem that it's obviously an issue. People are making tons of money off the resale market still. And there could be people out there like us that we want to wear these shoes and we might get a pair and we'll still wear them. But I think it just because there's a lot of money to be made. And we see it happening with the trading card industry now, like that industry.
That's back.
So, like that's back because somebody made money and now it's all of a sudden Gary Vee turns everyone into trading card fanatics.
Shout out to the Zion rookie card.
Yeah, man. But how do we fix it for specifically with something that we want in the sneakers and in coveted items, celebrating people that we want to celebrate?
Yeah, I mean there are a few things, right? Like, this isn't something that just the consumer can fix, right? This has to be something that Nike and Adidas and New Balance and everyone else wants to fix. They need to drop this strategy that so heavily involves scarcity and start actually caring for their consumer. Like we've seen strategies work before, like the one that I just wrote about with the Telfar bags and how people were able to pre-order these bags. And, they fill the orders depending on how many bags are actually pre-ordered. You can pre-order however many you want in this 24-hour time period, but you have a guaranteed delivery date of January 15th. So, like, you're going to get your bag at some point, even if it goes on back order. Just know you will get the bag. That could easily be done with something like Mamba Week or something like the Yeezy Croc that I hate so much. Like, we can see that in sneakers, right? That is an easy, plausible strategy for companies to do. But it's like, on one hand, yeah, that's a great idea. But on the other hand, it's like, for these companies, do they really want? I don't feel like they want people to actually have their hands on some of these shoes. Like, I think they wanted the 10 to be as exclusive as it was because they knew that they were going to come down the line with all of these Jordan 1 releases later on, right? And they needed something to generate that buzz to push for the Jordan 1 release. And so as long as that is in place, then I don't know how this changes. And the only way that we can really change that is if people stop buying into this thing. It's like we get up every Saturday morning, and then like I by no means am I like saying, yo, y'all have to stop, because I'm a part of this too. Like I was literally on sneakers with y'all last week trying to get these Kobe's and striking out. And it's like, if we stop doing that, if we stop rewarding them for this strategy, then it will stop. But until we do that, they're really just going to keep going with this thing. I did feel like Mamba Week specifically was a point where like Nike heard it from enough people to say like, okay, like maybe this is a problem. Maybe we should alter this somehow. Maybe we should rethink this strategy in some way. But like, is it enough to make them actually change? I think we'll probably find that out later down the line, especially as we get later into the year with more sneaker releases coming down the pipe for hype sneakers. But I don't know. It takes us saying no. We're not doing this thing anymore. Like I'm tired of striking out on these shoes and then seeing like PJ Tucker walk down the runway with these. Like
that's what I thought. Jose, when you sent me the links of all these guys just posting super cool PEs and you're like, oh, I designed these. I thought they were gonna surprise everyone and be like, hey, guess what we're doing? Nike by you. We're doing the Pro Shows. Let's do it. Like, you guys design them, wait 6 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever, however long it takes. It's the same wait we're going to have, right? Like waiting for this market to cool down a little bit and maybe get a pair. I thought they were going to announce something cool like that. Man, awesome would that
put them
be?
on Nike ID, right?
Yeah. That would have been brilliant. Because, I mean, honestly, like customization is one of the least talked about ways, but might be the most effective way in killing hype. Because, like, you think about it, say you take like a regular Air Force One and just like get somebody to do a DIY job on it. It's pretty dope. It comes out dope, right? And like that shoe it's just a $90 shoe that you can find at like your local Foot Locker or whatever. It's not hard to get. It's readily accessible. Like that strategy, even like talking about a Nike by You thing with the Protro 5, if they were to do that, like that would be the perfect way to satisfy customers, have a perfect set amount of inventory to have to fulfill, and also just keep the shoe as exclusive as you want it to be, or like to hype it in a different way. Like maybe it's not as scarce as you want it, but like everybody has a different one, so it's like it's still pretty special. Like I feel like that's a way where kind of everyone wins.
Yeah, man. It just the frustration for me lies in something you mentioned. It just doesn't feel like they care to try, and like this weekend, the release with the Union collab with Jordan, they did the whole pump fake thing where, all right, guys, this is the website. It'll be ready in 20 minutes. Then the 20 minutes hit, and the website doesn't load because that wasn't the actual website. So you finally find the actual website, and there's a password. What color is an orange? Like that's like the bare minimum. And even and there were so many people that got their hands on there. If you check like all these different like these sneaker link websites, we're just retweeting constantly, people just checking out, and like we see the examples of the bare minimum resulting in people actually being able to get the shoes. Right. And Nike could easily find things that go above and beyond this, I feel like, and they just don't. I feel like they don't care to. All the while, when the other thing that really upset me with the Mamba Week was, if you wanted that pack with the Undefeated collab, you had to do the stupid like little survey, right?
Yeah.
And I remember telling Raheel and our other friend Josh, I wonder if they made Shannon Sharp take the survey when they dropped him off the shoes.
Absolutely not.
That is so. Yeah. That is like this past week was a perfect encapsulation of what the sneaker game is, man.
Yeah. Jose, chill out though, man. We get some sneakers sent to us, or I do, so I'm not gonna hate on that too much.
All right, you're right. You're right. I need to chill out.
Yeah,
I got a pair sent once. That was 2 years ago.
Mike, he's not telling you this, but he got some Concords. Okay, sent to it. Like
Yo,
Jordan
it's
sent us.
not, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Yo,
I'll send you the video, Mike. It's the nicest thing anyone has ever done for me. Raheel did it for me 2 years ago. I'll send you that video after the podcast.
Yo, if they send a kicks, take them, man. Like,
Yeah. But you're right. Like it just amplifies it, man. It amplifies it where you're like, oh man, like Shannon Sharp already has it, and like I just want these. I just want to wear them. I'm not trying to even collect them. I just want to wear them. Like for me specifically,
Right.
I just wanted those so badly to play in, and maybe I should have gotten them when they approached these, right? Maybe I should have picked up a pair when they did them. And you know, Kobe 5's regarded as one of the best shoes to hoop in ever. So maybe you should have picked some up last year, right? And now the demand is even crazier because obviously Kobe passing away amplifies that. So, you know, it sucks, man. And there's got to be a way to fix this. And I hope they learn from this. And like you mentioned, the 2009 release of the Space Jams, that was a big moment for the industry where they were like, okay, we can't do this lining up stuff anymore. People getting jumped. Like, let's go virtual now, right? And like, let's do this right. Maybe this is the moment, man, and I hope it is. And maybe they're going to flood the market next year. Who knows? But it was a pivotal moment, and I'm glad we had you on to talk about it. So I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no, thank y'all so much for having me. This conversation was amazing. Again, like I'm so happy to hear that y'all like the newsletter and like the community that that we're all building, because like it's not just me, it's all of you together, and we all just make it a thing. So like I just appreciate y'all for even giving me a platform.
Okay, so we want to ask you some other questions not related to the video, but it is kind of because Darren Ravel tweeted your content the other week, right?
Boy.
So like when somebody like Darren Ravel, who is, I mean, sometimes it's just unbearable.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
He caught the block from me finally.
He did?
Yeah.
I still can't do it because
he caught the block.
I don't know. I just I like seeing what he tweets because I'm like, this is so bad.
You like people ganging up on him?
Yeah, I like the responses. So it's personal, by the way, because Jose and I both worked for the Roughnecks, the XFL team here in Houston.
Yeah.
And when they folded, unfortunately, he put out this really unfair tweet that made the league look really bad. Like it was their fault they shut down when there's a damn pandemic going on, right?
Right.
And ever since I was just like, it's personal to me because we poured in so many hours and like we have great memories and the people that like we knew behind the scenes. So that's why we kind of hate on them. You don't have to jump in on it. But our question is,
but you can.
Yeah, but you can. Feel free to. When you go viral like that, how many followers did you pick up? Because we've all gone viral before, but like you pick up like 13 followers.
Bro, I don't know. I didn't keep count, but I did notice that like I think at the time I was at like I think I had like 5,600 or something like that, and now I'm at 5,863. So like it moved. It definitely moved. It's still like is moving. Also, it was him and Chrissy Teigen randomly enough.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Chrissy Teigen was
hell?
like what did she say? She was like I think she just said like gross Nike and
I missed that one.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
Do you think she showed John Legend your newsletter?
I hope so. Ooh. I hope so.
True story. I trolled Chrissy Teigen before, like in 2013, 2012. Early days of Twitter. It's like 5 years old at that point, but it wasn't mainstream still. And she was on there, and like at that point, she's just a Sports Illustrated model, and she's pretty funny on there. So I follow her, and I tried interacting with her all the time. So one morning, she was on. I saw her; she was active on Twitter. So I sent her a picture. There's this thing that we used to do called Raheel Roll, Mike, where there's a picture of me in a Speedo, and we would hide the link. We would hide the link so you can't tell what it is, right? Like that's when TwitPic was still a thing, right? And you couldn't, TwitPic, you couldn't tell anything.
You've never told me this story.
Oh, I haven't told. Okay, so check this out. So I wake up one morning, I see she's active, so I'm like, let me see if I can troll her.
No.
And I'm like, Chrissy, I love this picture of you and John. You guys look great. No. And I put a picture of me. And she was just like, "Oh
Yo.
my god, this is awesome!" Or it was just hilarious. Yeah, so that's my.
Oh my
hilarious.
god, dude.
I'll
That's
find the
hilarious,
tweets
man.
for you guys here in a second, but man, it's so
Oh,
crazy.
That's so cringe. I can't believe you did that.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, man.
2013 Raheel was wildin'.
2013 Raheel had no brand
It
affiliation.
sounded
yeah.
like it had
Yeah,
nothing to
that's
lose.
why.
Yeah,
Man,
no,
hey,
it was so
yeah, go ahead.
weird for Ravel to tweet me though, like, because I'm not like the biggest Ravel fan.
No.
But,
Mm-mm.
so I
No.
was just like, yeah, appreciate it, bro.
I'm surprised he gave you credit, man. That's a big thing he
Yeah.
does. He just
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
he does that a lot now.
I would have liked a link too, but I can only ask for so much.
Man, hey, so how? Of course, the newsletter link is going to be in the bio of this episode for the audio side, and I'll also do it here on the video side here pretty soon. But anything else that you want people to follow you on, and that we can help you promote?
Really just the newsletter. You can follow me on Twitter if you want at Mike D Sykes. That's also my Instagram if you want to follow that. Most of my tweets are about sneakers and basketball, and I don't think they're that interesting, but the newsletter is pretty interesting though. So if you want to follow me, just subscribe to that at kyw.substack.com.
Cool, man. Love it, man. We appreciate it. Thank you again, dude.
Thanks so
Thanks
much,
so much
man.
for coming on, man.
Jose,
We
did you have
appreciate
anything
it.
else for Michael before we let him go?
Just thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been a blast to be a part of the community and to just chop it up with you on Twitter all the time, man. It's been awesome.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate y'all. Like I said, y'all got me over here like blushing and everything. So you can't see it.
Great
But
work, man. Keep up the great work, brother.
appreciate it.
Take
All
care,
right, man. We'll
Michael.
talk to you later.
soon.
All right.
He's got to come back on again.
Hell yeah, that was really awesome.
fun. That was really cool. That was a really good guest, and glad we got to talk with him about it and have some stories and jokes and all that. All right, we got to go. We didn't even talk about the NBA protest.
We didn't.
Jose, do you want to hit on it quickly? It's all right. Let's do it real quickly because
We can, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'm going to start it off real quickly with the NBA protest last week. The Milwaukee Bucks, they decided not to play in their game against the Orlando Magic, and the Magic were like, wait, what? What are we doing? We're not playing? Okay, cool. We're not playing either. We find out later that it was George Hill who really started to get that movement going right before game time almost, it felt like. And he said, hey, let's just boycott the game. Let's not go out there. You know what? Let's make a stand. Let's be heard. And they boycott the game. Then sure enough, that domino falls. So the other dominoes fall. The Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder, they boycott their game. Literally within 30 minutes, Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook had a meeting during pregame, and they're like, well, okay, cool, we'll boycott too. Then the Lakers boycott their game, and all of a sudden the NBA isn't working, and now people are losing their minds on either side, right? Like one side is like, whoa, this is awesome. The other side is like, oh, really? What are you going to get? What are you going to accomplish from this, right? In the heat of the moment, everyone's saying that. We later find out the Bucks actually did get on a call with the Attorney General, Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin, and they helped, get an emergency Congress meeting back in on the state side and try to resolve some issues and push a police bill through in an emergency session. And then we also learned about different things that were accomplished with a meeting that all the players were part of with the owners as well as the governor's board, and all the arenas are now going to turn into voting sites, which is incredible, right?
Right.
So you get that part of it. And then other things are accomplished as well. You're not going to solve everything in one day. It's impossible, right? So I know people want to get their tweets off and make fun of NBA players and say racist things that are masked as, oh, we're just joking around. Hey, oh, yeah, come on, they can't even read. That's not racist. That's just a little funny joke. No, it's not. That is racism masked as a funny joke. Just admit it. I would respect people so much more if they just said, hey, here's a little racism for you. You know what? I really do feel this way.
You would respect that?
Say, yeah, I would respect that. At least they're honest about it. Don't try to say that, oh, I was just making a joke. I wasn't trying to be mean about this. Just say it. Be like, hey, I think NBA players are dumb, right? Just say that. We're talking about a radio host. I don't want to throw, Tony Bruno did it. And by the way, he got let go of his Sirius XM gig and also on another national affiliate that Jose's a part of. So I don't want to throw that business out there because I don't think they're doing it. I haven't heard his show on there. So we hear that and we're like, man, are you guys just being crazy about this and not holding the right people accountable and not listening. That was the other thing that frustrated me was, all right, you guys all got your jokes off. The NBA's ratings suck, and this is gonna hurt this is the reason why the ratings suck and nobody's watching. But when you actually break down the ratings, they're doing okay in the demo they want to be in, right? Like it could be better. It could be better for a lot of people, but the ratings are okay. And then everyone gets their jokes off, and you're like, oh, okay. So are you guys gonna talk about why they're not playing? Why they decided to strike today? Are we gonna talk about this or not? And then it just gets out of hand on Twitter that day, because then everyone is just turning it into a political thing, which it is. That's fine. But it just started getting out of hand because there was no solutions being thrown out. And I think you pointed this out best. It's like, wait, do you want NBA players to solve all of this, or people that we voted to solve all of this? Like, there's a reason why we voted you in as a politician. Please do something about this, right? It's not an NBA player's job to do this. And it's not fair that, again, a conservative radio host, he gets to express his opinion about stuff, but an NBA player can't. Why is it that they get to do that? You know, and why is it that some of the people that are so for certain amendments, and there seems to be a trend, and I don't want to like paint everyone with the same brush because that's not fair, but man, there's a damn weird trend where people that are so for the Second Amendment really hate it when people use the First Amendment. And also other amendments. You're like, wait, you're allowed due process here. You know, this dude might be a really bad dude. You're absolutely right. He might be a horrible person, but he gets his day in court like we all do. Like, let's figure that out first. Why do we flex on some amendments but not give the right to other people for other amendments? That was another frustrating thing for me. So it was a bleep show, man. It really, and I think we saw a lot of people's true colors once again. You know, for a lot of people, you're like, man, really? Like, you're not going to break this down and like actually research a little bit when everyone calls everyone out about researching, and you see some people, you're like, wait, you were just saying people that we like, hey, you only do headlines. Well, how about you? Why aren't you reading?
Yeah, dude, there's people, this is just the year of people just revealing their true colors, or at least that's what I think. And I mean, there's people aside from the guy you just mentioned at the station I currently work for who are just perpetuating this nonsense and this just tell us, like you said you'd respect them more. I won't go to that extent. Just tell us you're racist.
I would, because now you're not hiding. You know,
I really don't respect you anyways. You could hide it however you want, but just be upfront about it. Like, with the whole Jacob Blake thing is the same thing with that happened with Breonna Taylor. The same thing with George Floyd. Like, if they have a track record, that matters more than the crime that happened to them. Mm-hmm. And that's so unfair, and that's not the humanitarian way of looking at it.
Nope. One of our mutual friends, put it best, and I don't want to say his name because I don't know if he wants it out there, but he said, man, people really get off to like other people killing each other, right? And then we saw the kid who ends up shooting the protesters, and he's 17, and you're like, what? And our mutual friend, and I'll tell you his name later, but he goes, man, people really get off to this, like wanting to kill somebody. Why do we do that? Why do we want to kill everybody? Man, it's the strangest thing, man. It's so weird. Zane has a good question here. He says, do you think NBA players would have made more of an impact if they boycotted the rest of the playoffs and were out marching in the streets? Yes, I don't know. I don't know the answer to this. Yes, they could have. But like, some of these guys have gone home now, right? Like, we'll see, because it's literally a matter of days now. Like, the Orlando Magic are home now, right? Teams are going home now. So we'll see. There's not much marching left, honestly. Everyone's marched. Everyone has expressed their frustration. Corporate dollars are not flowing one way. Everyone knows this. Now, when is this change going to occur? And I get it. Like, the NBA players, was there some of the frustration of being in the bubble as well? Absolutely. That was part of it as well. You saw some of the players talk about that, which, shout out to the NBA. The families are now coming to the bubble. We saw Fred VanVleet, his family get in there, and you saw him with his kids.
That was really sweet.
That was really cool, right? So, like, you see these moments.
Raptors in 5, baby.
Raptors, no, the Celtics are good, man. That's a good team. The Celtics are a good team. But anyways, back to it. I don't know. I don't know if they would have boycotted the whole thing. Some of the players have talked about this where now we don't have our platform, unfortunately. Yes, we have tons of social media followers, and that's fine, like LeBron does. But what about everyone else, right? Like, there's only so much you can do. Again, this goes back to my social media thing as well. I can put a tweet out there, 70 million people see it, but like 10 people click on it. What's the action from it, right? And again, what's the action from a media press conference? But obviously the Bucks accomplished something by striking that day. They got something done.
Yeah, to me, it was kind of like a warning shot. Like, just thinking back a couple of years ago, where like a guy literally got kicked out of the league he played in for protesting, and the NBA goes into moving forward a couple of years forward now to the NBA. And it just kind of becomes a conversation that they had before the bubble of like, wait, what if we don't go to play because that's a distraction away from the important work we're trying to do this year? And everyone kind of just laughed it off, right? And obviously we get to this point where we start playing, and then another black person gets shot by the police. And it's like, wait, we came back. Y'all said y'all were going to listen to us. We're doing these shirts. We're kneeling. We're putting all these causes on the back of our jerseys. Nothing is changing. Why isn't anything changing? Okay, we're going to stop again then. And I don't know if the player's intention was to completely stop, but at the very least, it was a warning shot to say, we're not going to go unheard anymore. Change needs to happen. And I don't think it's fair to criticize that.
Nabil says, do you think the boycott would have happened if it occurred during the NBA Finals? Yeah, I don't think it mattered where we were. And I can't confirm this, okay, but somebody I trust dearly, okay? And I don't know if he's talked about it as well, but I trust this person very dearly. He said if the NFL was in season, they would have boycotted as well. Like if there's a game that next Thursday, right, because it happened on a Wednesday, Thursday night, if there was football, they would have protested as well. And we saw some of the players hold out of practices. The
Lions didn't practice for a couple days.
And then the Astros, of all teams, and the A's were like, yeah, we're not playing either.
Yeah.
Saturday. It was so late. And you're like, yeah, but still we want you guys to know and have this uncomfortable feeling that, yeah, we don't want to play. And Astros Twitter was awesome. People just going, I have spent millions of dollars watching this team. I'll never support you. All right, dude. I better not see you tweeting about the Astros when they win the World Series.
You stuck through a controversial cheating scandal. You won't stick through the search and the desire for racial equality.
Yeah, that speaks more about you. Absolutely.
God bless you.
So it was a bleep show, man. And look, there's a lot to unpack here, and nothing's gonna get solved overnight. That's the other thing that we forget. And people just want to dunk on each other on social media and get their jokes off. But at the end of the day, when all that is done, which by the way, it was weird that a lot of these conservative accounts were not making the same points about MLB teams protesting and saying, hey, their ratings are down. They can't be doing this. This is going to kill their league.
They also didn't have anything to say when that Friday morning where it just kept coming out as the Rockets and Tillman Fertitta say they're going to use the Toyota Center as a polling station. So are the Suns, so are the Warriors, et cetera, et cetera. There was a bunch of crickets for that.
Which, by the way, is a really cool thing. Good. Make it easier because we've seen this in our own city, right? When you go back to a lot of these elections, especially the midterm elections in 2018, and people are standing out in neighborhoods that don't get representation, that have already been destroyed by gerrymandering, and now you see them waiting for 6 hours, right? And you're like, what the hell's happening here? Why haven't they voted yet? Oh, because there's only two polling machines there, by the way.
Oh, and by the way, they close in 30 minutes.
Yeah. But see, you can get in line, and that's fine, but there was a guy there, I think he got in line at 7 p.m. because that's the cutoff, and I don't think he voted until like 1 a.m., if I remember the story correctly. And the news was there the whole time. I think it was ABC 13 was there the whole time. They got sound of him the next day, even on the news, talking about, no, this is my right. I'm gonna vote. I don't care. I'll wait in line. And that is that voter suppression that See, and it's hard for people to relate to because they're not going through it, right? They don't go because they'll just say, "Oh man, what are you talking about? I just went to my great, 5A high school and walked right in, and it was great. There's 100 places and there's no wait." But other areas are going through this, so I love it, man. The more voting stations we can get, more polling locations, do it. Doesn't matter how they vote, just let them vote. Give them the right to vote. That's it. Make it easy for them. They shouldn't have to wait in line 5 hours.
Right.
So a lot of different things there, man. And look, it's only gonna get more interesting here from here on out. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what the NBA does next, what other sports leagues do when the NFL finally gets going. Woo-wee. I can't wait. That's only a couple of weeks away, by the way. The NFL starts in a couple of weeks. I can't wait to see what they do.
Just think of how that league went from 4 years ago, what they did to Colin Kaepernick, and how taboo that became to even mention his name, to where we've come in that aspect 4 years later.
To have Roger Goodell doing interviews about it. Like, how crazy is
to have
that?
Roger Goodell saying, "I should have listened to him." Well, no bleep.
Yeah. Well, no, he's
it
like,
only took
I
you
should
4
have
years.
listened to him. Bring your money here, guys. Hey, we care about Black lives too. Bring your money here. Back then it was, no. This other side is more powerful. So let's listen to them. It was crazy, man. It's crazy. Crazy times. All right, we're done. We got to go. I'm going to go watch the Rockets play. I'm starting from scratch, so no spoilers, please. Jose, thank you so much, buddy. Don't even give me don't do that. Don't do that.
Buddy,
big thanks,
buddy.
No, big thanks to Michael Sykes as well. Make sure you follow him. Link to the newsletters in the bio of this episode if you're listening on the audio side. If not, you can also find him on Twitter, Mike D. Sykes. All right, Jose, thank you so much, man. I'll talk to you next week.
Take care, buddy. Stay spicy.